Hello and welcome to the business of being an author. I'm Chris Ashmore. So you've written your book. Congratulations. You've got a great looking functional website and a strong online presence. Good for you. Now's the time to level up to get access to more clients, grow your credibility and create further opportunities. Andrew Griffiths says that's where collaboration can really speed things up. Be careful though. There are potential risks involved. And Andrew explains how to avoid them. Well, Andrew, one of the fastest ways to grow as an author of a business is collaboration. Mm-hmm. How so?
Collaboration is this wonderful, wonderful kind of tool that enables us to, if we look at it a bit multidimensional again and go, okay, we think of collaboration or partnerships. So if I partner with you on something, then, we can use that to grow our business. So it might be we collaborate to build our audience. So we say, well, if I want a bigger tribe, then if you've got a similar tribe to me, we collaborate and then hopefully some of those people will follow me. It works well for that. We might want to build our credibility. So we might collaborate with either a media platform or, some other kind of opportunity where we say, well, by me working with them or being on a show there or something like that, that then also enhances my credibility, which is part of, an opportunity there. It could even be we collaborate with someone to make a product that we sell collectively, so it can enhance our opportunities. So I think one of the keys here is to think of collaboration as having many different facets. So if you think about what do we want to achieve when we're trying to build a business around our book, well, we want to achieve all of those things. So collaborating is a really smart way to do it. And I find that in Australia, we're not as good at collaborating as we are in other countries. And so that's another reason why I think, like in America, people collaborate a lot. I see that with authors, with speakers, building products, doing promotions, doing events, a lot of collaborating. In Australia, we tend to be little lone wolves doing our own thing, and that limits us. So we don't naturally have a collaboration culture from my experience.
Right.
Interesting. And surprising, actually.
Yeah. Because you would think we tend to be so social and easygoing.
Yeah, totally. All hail fellow, well met, all that kind of stuff. But it does limit your growth. And again, I've used it very effectively over many years, collaborating in all of those ways to really build my business without a doubt. It's a tool that you have to master, like we've spoken about leveraging and the right product architecture, all of those things. Definitely collaboration needs to be up there, but it's something that doesn't necessarily come naturally to people.
Mm-hmm. Well, what are some simple collaborations that authors could develop right now?
Yeah, great. So if you're starting out perhaps, and again, remember that you're an author now, so that opens doors for you that you may not realise are opening. So a simple, like in my early days of doing what I do, a simple collaboration for me was I went to my accountant who was a busy accounting firm, and we just collaborated to the point where every new client that they got received one of my books, whatever it was at that time. And they were a big firm, and even their existing clients, they gave them all a book at Christmas. They bought those books off me, and periodically I would go into a workshop for their audience that they could then promote, so for their clients. So I might do one of those every quarter, and it was a really nice relationship. I mean, I think they probably ended up buying maybe 1,000 books, which is a lot of books when you think about it, but it just worked really well. So you can look at those kind of simple collaborations. It might be someone else who's in your industry perhaps, or in your niche, that you go, it would be great for us to be able to work together. So we might do a webinar together where we would talk about a topic that's relevant. I invite all my people, you invite all your people. We get a bit of cross-mixing. They're not going to stop following you, but they might start following me, and some of my people might start following you. You're broadening your reach. So you can do simple little things like that. Even sometimes like a guest article or a guest, blog post or, something along those lines that's a collaboration piece that is really an easy way to start. And I definitely think start easy, start smaller, learn how to collaborate, and then you can start to do bigger collaborations.
Are there any red flags that we got to know about when it comes to collaboration?
I think I had some very interesting experiences early on. So as my brand and my reputation as an author started to grow, and this opportunity flow changed. So before I was an author, I had to go and chase all these opportunities. And then when I became an author and I leveraged and promoted, opportunities started to come to me. And I kind of said yes to everything because I had a bit of a poverty mindset. And I'm kind of going, oh my God, can you do a webinar, do this, do that? And I said, sure. But I made a bit of a mistake a few times because I collaborated with people and I didn't do my homework. I didn't do enough research. One example, a lady from America reached out to me and I just published a book called 101 Ways to Have a Business and a Life. And she's saying, oh, I've got a new business. I'm starting up. I'm a kind of lifestyle coach. Your book is fantastic, amazing, stroke the ego a little bit. And she said, I'd love to do a webinar with you, and have you on as my guest to talk about this work-life balance kind of thing. And I went, yeah, sure, free of charge. She hasn't got any money, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I signed an agreement with her and I thought, when she sent it through, I thought, well, that's quite a serious kind of an agreement. I'm just doing a webinar with you, for goodness sake. But, I thought, oh, well, she's professional. Anyway, then the marketing material started to come out for this and it was like one of these ridiculous, how to become a $10 million consultant in a week and Andrew Griffiths is going to do this and do that. And it was terrible quality marketing material. It was just, clickbaity. It was so not on my brand, but I felt obligated because I'd signed this thing. I'd voiced my opinion. Anyway, I did this thing and I had so many people in my community said, Andrew, like, what are you doing? Like that. And I learnt a very, very valuable lesson about just being very cautious with who you collaborate when they approach you. And if they try and sell you too hard, and they try and convince you about how amazing it's going to, the harder they try to sell me on why I should collaborate with them, the more likely I am to probably say no. But I do my homework to make sure that I should be collaborating with them. That goes a little bit without saying. So just protect your brand at all costs. Protect your brand at all costs. You go to all this trouble to build it, write the book, build that reputation, partnering with the wrong person or the wrong organisation can do so much damage.
Right. Well, when you do approach someone to collaborate, how do you come across without looking needy or seeming needy?
Yeah. And so that's the different thing. So I'm assuming here now you're going to reach out. I'm going to reach out to you, Chris, and say, okay, let's do a podcast series together. If it's something you're interested in, we can do that. I've done my due diligence on you. I wouldn't be approaching you. It's a bit borderline, but I'm still, so I'm assuming now I know that you're a good operator and, because I've done my homework. But my philosophy for doing collaborations is very much, it's got to be a win-win. If it can't just all be in my benefit. So I've got to say and put a case forward on why I think it would be a good collaboration for both of us, what the benefits are there. So I kind of go to those lengths and say, hey, look, I'd love to do some work with you. I think we've got a similar audience. We've got a great take on what it is that we're doing. We kind of agree, but there's enough disagreement or difference of a view to make it interesting. I think a podcast or maybe a workshop would work. So I go to lengths to illustrate why we should partner and then what that would look like. And I also really point out that, my goal here is that we both really benefit from this, whatever that looks like, as opposed to just making it sound like this is all for you. I'm here to help you there. And I think that if you learn how to kind of approach other people in a really win-win kind of a way with collaborations, I think it will pay off for you because people are wiser and, they're a bit more aware of, someone trying to, I don't know, just get something out of you without really going into it with the right kind of philosophy or attitude. So I do that and I've been collaborating that way for such a long time now. I genuinely want you to get great results out of that first and foremost. I get results out of it, great. But I think if you build that reputation of being a great collaborator, you'll have people that want to collaborate with you forever.
Right. Now, you have a mind map, a collaboration opportunity mind map. Mm-hmm. Can you walk me through that?
Sure. So So something that I do, I used to call it an author mind map. And the way that it worked was if I put my book I've got a book coming out, I think about everyone who's in my kind of sphere of influence. And it might be like my email database would be one. It might be a specific person who's, perhaps an influencer. It's not a term I like to use, but you get it. An influencer. It might be another author I know. And I just mind map everyone who, to me, is a network, my social media community, my past clients, my current clients, and they all form a place on my author mind map, which then I realised as I looked at it was really about collaboration more than anything else. So in the past, what I would do with the author network mind map was say, okay, if I'm going to launch a book, how am I going to launch it to my email database, my current clients? So I used it for a launch, but then now what I do is I turn that into a collaboration mind map and I say, okay, well, that's the launch done. Now, how do I go forward and collaborate with all of the people in there, whether they're individuals, companies, groups, whatever it might be? And it's amazing how many people we actually have in our sphere of influence when we look at it like that. So I do an author network mind map and I've kind of got a couple of hundred kind of groups, individuals, people, and it's like, wow, like that's huge. So if I look at that from a collaboration point of view, I literally have a couple of hundred potential collaborations. So if I did one collaboration a week, I could ultimately have 50 done in the year. Imagine how I could build my audience, how I could build my credibility, and I could build my direct sales. I could build everything. And that's a bit of the philosophy, again, that I'm really trying to encourage with the work that we're talking about here. Collaboration's great, but we often publish the book and then go, collaborate with who? It's that silence that we run into again. And I think I'm trying to just say, there are plenty of opportunities to collaborate with people already in your sphere. You just got to kind of get them out of your head and see them in one page and now go, right, come up with a collaboration strategy that suits each of them, not a one-size-fits-all. Don't do a podcast episode with all of them. Go, okay, well, they're great. They do a lot of workshops. Why don't we do a workshop together? Great. He's a writer. He's doing books all the time. Maybe, again, I'll do a promotion of his book. Maybe he can do a promotion of mine. Get a bit of creativity happening in there as well. I reached out to a magazine that I was a regular contributor to, and they were looking to get subscribers. And I said, well, I'll give you a book for everyone who subscribes. So I gave them 200 or 300 books in the space of a year. It was a big commitment on my behalf. But there's a full-page ad in every magazine that came out. I got a ton of work out of that, promoting. I can't remember what the book was now, but it was a big promotion. I spoke at their launch of the magazine, etc. Lots of cool ways that we can collaborate really effectively.
And ideally, the collaboration results in commercial success for both parties.
Well, I think it could be directly commercial success. It might be credibility building, for them. See, remember too, if you've written a book, Chris, and then you invite me to come on to your webinar, for example, for your audience, your people, and you come on board, well, you might not sell something out of that, but you get the credibility of being able to work to bring me, who's got my audience and a profile and all the rest of it, into your community. So you're helping them by, hopefully, I'm coming in with some advice and wisdom that's going to be of benefit to them. So I think we've got to go, yes, it's like everything we're talking about here. There's different currencies. There's the direct commercial revenue, which is a business, great, but the more credibility we build, that ultimately leads to more commercial success. The more reach we have, the more media that release. There's the different kind of pieces there. We build our tribe because I go onto your podcast, get your audience. Now I get an extra 100 followers who now become part of my community. So we've got to think broader about it, but then we go, right, there are multiple outcomes, and that's what we want to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned earlier about the webinar and perhaps it didn't particularly fit with your brand. How do you ensure that the collaboration that you do suits, helps with your reputation and doesn't diminish on it.
It enhances it. And I think that there's a few little parts of that. One is, of course, what I was saying before is to really do your homework on the individual or the organisation that is approaching you, or if you're approaching them, make sure that you're doing that. I think without a doubt that's a critical part around it. I think the other things that we want to do is we want to make sure that we're delivering on what we say we're going to deliver. And the way that I would look at that, there's nothing worse than when you sign up for a webinar, as an example, that is offering, I'm going to teach you how to write a book, and you get 50 minutes of banter and bluff, and then 10 minutes of buy my product, and you don't really get any information. So I think you really want to make sure that you are going to live up to whatever the offer of the collaboration is to the audience, so that they, you're giving them, what it is that they really want. I think that's, to me, it's that culture and that thinking again of saying, okay, I've got to make sure that I protect my brand, but I've also got to deliver. I've got to make sure I don't partner with the wrong people. Even that kind of point there, Chris, is a little bit of like, we can be approached by an organisation and go, well, they might be offering to pay you a whole lot of money, and you kind of go, well, yeah, but I don't know that I want to have my brand associated with that. Like in my speaking, as a professional speaker, I have a list of industries that I won't speak for because they don't align with my values and principles. Tobacco industry, there's a range of ones that I would go through, and that's my choice. So I would not be a spokesperson or, or that. So yeah, the protecting of your brand is a critical piece of it that we just need to kind of consider. And unfortunately, though, I must say, I think that we all make mistakes in that at some stage. I even did an event in Melbourne years ago that I got because of my books, and I was, and when I was doing this, I was enticed because there was great opportunity in it. It was a big audience and all the rest of it, but it was a terrible event, and it was, again, I didn't do enough homework on the guy that was running it, and found out that, it was really just get a whole pile of people in a room and flog them to death to buy products and things like that. One of those really hardcore sell from stages. And I sat through the first day, and I got up when it was my turn to speak and just said, guys, I'm not going to sell you anything. Everyone else is too busy doing that. I want to help you. Like I had to, because it wasn't the right thing for my brand. So I think everyone gets the point, what I'm saying. Collaboration's great, but just be careful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When the collaboration is done and dusted, the event's finished or the webinar or whatever, how important is the follow-up? Yeah,
I think if you do a successful collaboration in whatever your metrics are to measure that odds on there's a great opportunity to do more with that particular individual or that company. So for me, I like to do a debrief, make sure, how did it work for you? Was it good for you? Was it, good for me? Did we do a good job? What could we do differently? And that's also the time then to talk about, well, what do we do next? And I find that, again, over the years then, what you end up with is regular collaboration partners. So I have people that if I have a new book coming out, I've got a whole pile of collaborations that I could do with them, from interviews to videos to webinars to whatever it might be, because we've done them all in the past. So you've got this, the follow-up is there because you're trusted and you both deliver and you kind of do stuff on a regular basis. If you're feeling your way with a new collaborator, new partner of some sort, again, you want to do the debrief and say, well, okay, what else could we possibly do here that could work for you and work for me? Sometimes it's like, well, that's probably it. That's the extent of it. Or, well, we could try some other stuff. And as long as you keep the philosophy of win-win, we both win, we deliver, we do what's right, and you get a bit creative about what it is that you're doing, I think it'll work. It'll work wonderfully well. And over time, it'll be less daunting than going, I'm sitting here looking at an empty kind of list of potential collaborations because I'm already starting the year. So I mentioned before, I've got a new book coming out. I've got probably 20 or 30 people that I'm already talking about doing something with because we've done it in the past and it's worked really well. Add that to every year, I've got another 10, 15 people that we do just one webinar a year on a particular topic, and we kind of do an updated 2026 version of that. And we do that. So you'll build it up over time. And as I've said a number of times, I'm 30 years into this process, so it's a lot easier for me on where I'm at. If you're sitting and staring and going, oh my God, where do I start? Like everything, you start simple. Like product architecture, start simple. Start with one or two simple products. With collaborations, start simple. Start with someone who you know is friendly and you trust. Let's do something together. It's like gorillas in the mist. Hold out a little leaf and say, let's do some stuff.
Indeed. Well, before we go, we have a look at 3 action steps that people can take. What are they?
Great. So again, through the lens of you looking at this as someone who wants to build a business as an author, one of the things I definitely encourage you to do is to develop your collaboration map. So, and I'm kind of looking up because I'm visualizing my own mind, and I just do it as a mind map. And Simple Mind is the platform that I use. And just all of your contacts, all of your connections, all of your individuals, organizations, databases, memberships, everyone who is in your sphere of influence, develop that map and do it over a period of time, because you'll be amazed at how big that reach actually is. And very few people have ever sat down and done that. But when you do it, you go, great. Now, if you haven't launched a book yet, well, that's your marketing campaign. Do 200, marketing strategies, but that's your collaboration list. So that's number one. I think also a really helpful thing to do is to develop what I would call like a collaboration pitch document, which is just a 1 or 2 page kind of piece, a bit like a media kit if you're reaching out to go on a podcast show, or your podcast kit, something like that you would use. A collaboration kit. I have one which is about collaborating with Andrew Griffiths, what it looks like, my commitment, ideas. I've got a framework diagram of work showing what I can do and create and develop as well. Testimonials from people that I've collaborated with that are not testimonials about Andrew's a great guy. It's about, we worked together on this, and this. This is the result we got. So I make it easy for people to go, well, okay, he's got a professional collaboration kit. It says all the right things. Again, because I'm always asking to collaborate with people that are bigger than me, like that have got reason to be cautious about collaborating with me because they don't know who I am from a bar of soap. That's number 2. And then the last one goes back to the mindset piece that we spoke about a while back again, Chris, which is that think bigger. Don't be afraid of reaching out to someone to collaborate. Even if you think that you're batting way above your pay grade, people need collaborations. They are looking, particularly if you've written a book that's, needs to be heard about, needs people to go, wow, this is an amazing take on this topic. We think that the people that are got a bigger profile than us, why would she want to collaborate with me? Little old me over here. That's a mistake in thinking. You'd be surprised how people will want to collaborate with you, A, because you're an author, but B, because you've written a book which has great value. It's not just I've got 10,000 followers, you've got 10,000 followers. It's not that linear a transaction. So I think step into your bigger, aim bigger, look to collaborate with people who you think will never say yes, and you might just be surprised who will actually say yes. So you just got to make it compelling when you reach out to them.
That's terrific. Thank you, Andrew.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure.
And that ends this episode of The Business of Being an Author with Andrew Griffiths. To learn more or to contact Andrew, please visit andrewgriffiths.com. Until next time, thanks for listening.